Alright, let's talk about one of the coolest parts of Hellclock, Relics. These bad boys aren't just fancy loot drops, they're basically the engine behind every great build. Whether you're slashing through enemies at lightning speed or letting your minions do the dirty work, the right relics can completely flip the script on how you play. Some change your skill's damage type, others totally transform what your abilities do. And when you start stacking those effects together, yeah, things get wild real quick. Now, if you've ever wondered why your build feels just okay while someone else is melting bosses in seconds, chances are, it's the relics. Picking the right ones isn't just about grabbing whatever looks shiny, it's about synergy. Are you going for massive AoE nukes, constant summons swarming the field, a melee monster that never stops moving? There's a relic combo for that. So in this video, we're diving deep into the relic system in Hellclock, showing you how to go from decent to downright unstoppable. Let's get into it. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking relics in Hellclock. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The relics in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Breath Mask, Savior's Shield, Skull of the Vulture, Skull of Wisdom, Summoning of Air, Summoning of Earth, The Sacrificed, Voice of War, and Wheel of Death. You ever pick up a relic and think, why do I feel like I just downgraded my entire build? Yeah, welcome to C tier. These are the relics you grab when the game says, here, take this. And you're like, I guess? But hey, just because they're in C tier doesn't mean they're useless. They just need a very specific kind of love. And sometimes, a miracle. Let's kick things off with Breath Mask. This relic gives you conviction every time a brute dies. Sounds cool, right? Until you realize it's like getting a loyalty card for a coffee shop that closed down. It stacks conviction, sure, but unless your build is entirely about spawning and sacrificing brutes like some dark overlord, there are simply better ways to spend your slots. Next up, we've got Savior's Shield, which reduces damage from ignited enemies while Prayer of Health is active. Keyword: while. This is like wearing sunscreen only when the sun is behind a cloud. Sure, it's useful in fire-based builds, especially when you're praying for healing anyway, but the stars really have to align for this to shine. Let's talk about a fun one. Skull of the Vulture. This bad boy makes your Shadow Dash instantly trigger any pending bleed on enemies. That means one dash and boom! Big ol' bloodbath. It's honestly amazing when you're fighting elites or bosses that like to tank hits, but outside of that, it's a fancy way of saying, I overcommitted to bleed, and now I needed to do something. Skull of Wisdom, on the other hand, gives you temporary maximum mana when you stack Shadow Dash. So basically, if you're spamming Dash and need more mana for your greedy spells, this helps. But compared to relics that straight up boost your damage or cooldowns, this one's like drinking water when you really wanted coffee. Then there's Summoning of Air. Phantom Marksmen now reduce the lightning resistance of enemies when they hit. Great if you're cooking up some thunder-based spell build. But again, it's support utility, not something that's going to carry your whole run. It's the garlic bread of relics. Tasty, but it's not the main dish. And you guessed it, Summoning of Earth is Air's Jim Bro twin. Same idea, but it reduces physical resistance instead of lightning. If you're stacking physical skills, it's a nice boost, but like Air, it works better with stronger relics rather than carrying a build on its own. The Sacrificed is weird. It makes the old bell cost health instead of mana, and scales the damage based on your maximum life. So if you're stacking health like a tanky war machine, this thing can hit like a truck. But if you're squishy, you're basically trading HP for a weak slap. It's viable, but niche as heck. Then we have Voice of War. This gives bonus summon damage while brutes are actively taunting enemies. It's kind of like cheering from the sidelines. Go brute, go! It's passive, which is nice, but unless you're running a full tank summon build, it doesn't really turn heads. Last but not least, Wheel of Death. Oh boy. This one removes the cooldown and mana cost from Shadow Dash, but drains your health instead. It's basically the Red Bull of relics. Pure energy at a cost. If you're all in on speed and aggression, it can feel amazing. If you're not, you'll bleed out before you even realize you were dashing into your own grave. So yeah, C-tier relics in Hellclock are like that box of weird snacks at the back of the pantry. They're not first picks, but sometimes, just sometimes, they hit the spot. And if nothing else, they give you a good story when you beat a boss using Wheel of Death while yelling, I regret nothing. The relics in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Arapuka, Bloodied Doll, Blood Money, Bloody Thorn, Death Worship, Disorientation, Final Reckoning, Heads or Tails, Mandakaru, Memorial Candle, Peace and Quiet, Righteous Blade, Settle the Score, Spiked Chains, and Ticket. You ever grab a relic and think, okay, this might actually do something. If I jump through 7 hoops and offer a goat to the RNG gods? That's B tier in a nutshell. These relics aren't terrible, far from it. But they're picky. They want commitment, synergy, and sometimes just a little bit of luck. Let's start with Arapuka. It gives you bonus damage against slowed enemies, which is great, if you're actually slowing things. It's kind of like bringing extra cheese to a party, only makes sense if someone remembered the pizza. With proper slow synergy though, it can really bump your DPS. Bloodied Doll is a summoner's delight. Your spells get stronger with every active summon, so if you're flooding the battlefield with ghostly buddies, this thing scales like a dream. But if you're not into summoning, it's just a creepy doll with no chill. Definitely needs a dedicated build to pop off. Speaking of summoning, Blood Money. Your brute revives after death, using your HP. Bold move. It's powerful if your brute is tanking for you and you're running a regen-heavy build. But if you're low on healing, congratulations, you just traded health for a meat shield with commitment issues. Now let's get a little stabby with Bloody Thorn. This one applies bleed on critical hits. Nice and simple, and fantastic for crit/bleed synergy. Pair it with something like Barbed Wire, and you've got a hemoglobin-heavy playstyle. On its own, though, it's not going to carry you. Death Worship is here to give your Shadow Dash a melee identity crisis. It adds the melee tag and some bonus damage, which means now your dash actually hits like a truck instead of just being a mobility tool. It's great for turning up the aggression, though it's more of a sidekick than a hero. Let's explode some brutes with Disorientation. Every time your brute dies, it explodes in a cloud of plague damage, scaling off its max life. It's morbid, but oddly satisfying. Just be warned, it's only great if you're okay with your brutes constantly dying. Otherwise, you're just playing fetch with explosives. Final Reckoning makes surviving feel violent in the best way. If you trigger Second Wind while using Prayer of Vengeance, it deals plague damage in an area around you. It's reactive, meaning the more danger you're in, the more damage you dish out. Think of it as your last angry scream before you walk it off. On the topic of staying alive, Heads or Tails gives your Prayer of Health a chance to trigger Second Wind when you're about to die. It's like rolling dice with your life, literally. Sometimes it saves you, sometimes it doesn't. Good for a little extra insurance, but don't bet your build on it. Mandakaru is a personal favorite. Bonus damage from reflexes to enemies who are already bleeding. It's another one of those relics that loves synergy. If you're not applying bleed constantly, it's just a cactus with attitude. But if you are, say hello to chunky counterattacks. Memorial Candle transforms Judgment into a persistent zone that lingers for a few seconds. Instead of a big one-and-done slam, now you've got a zone of denial. Great for locking down an area, holding off waves, or stylishly ruining someone's day. Not as flashy, but definitely strategic. Peace and Quiet is ironically loud. Every time you cast Passage, you gain conviction for each nearby enemy. So basically, teleport into a crowd, get rewarded for being surrounded. Not for the faint of heart, but if you're already blinking around like a maniac, it adds some tasty scaling. Now here's a spicy one, Righteous Blade. Using Prayer of Health emits a damaging fire aura around you, but at the cost of your own health. It's the relic equivalent of screaming, "I'm healing but also dying and taking you with me." It's risky, sure, but if you've got Sustain... Chef's Kiss. Settle the Score amps up every nth Fator's Lash, giving it extra damage and a bigger area of effect. It turns that one in every few hits into a monster slam. Best used in builds that are all about fast and frequent striking, because you'll be lashing out constantly. Literally. Spike Chains reduces damage you take from bleeding enemies. It's a very specific kind of tankiness. You've got to make enemies bleed first. But once you do, they're less dangerous. It's like putting out a fire with their own matches. Useful, but not core. And finally, Ticket. This one's for all the summoners who hate leaving their minions behind. Now, when you cast Passage, your summons come with you. It's like teleporting with your own personal army. Helpful for repositioning your whole crew, but not quite as impactful as doubling your summons entirely. So yeah, B-tier relics, they're your toolkit relics. Not bad at all. In fact, they can be very strong, but they ask for a little cooperation. They're not going to fix a bad build, but if you already know what you're doing, these can push you from solid to, okay, this is kinda spicy. The relics in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Ancestral Memory, Barbed Wire, Banner of Faith, Bead Necklace, Blunderbuss, Book of Sin, Blue Calcite, Bundle of Rope, Burning Shackles, Katinga Hunter, Call of the Guard, Crown of Thorns, Delicate Rosary, Energy Box, Garrison Supplies, Golden Chaplet, Looking Glass, Martyr, Molten Relic, Northerner Belt, Powder Bag, Round Shot, Skull of the Beast, Spearhead, Stolen Weapons, Toll of the Dead, Unshakable Faith, and Worker's Tools. Ancestral Memory summons a spirit that mimics your skill and deals bonus damage, scaling with your summon stats. Basically, it's like hiring a ghost intern who's really good at their job. Just don't forget to stack those summon or faith upgrades, or they'll underperform like it's Monday morning. Barbed Wire always applies bleed and even boosts its damage. It's the bleed build's best friend. Dependable, brutal, and just a little too obsessed with poking things. Pair it with crit or lifesteal and enjoy the red carpet of damage. Banner of Faith is what happens when your double knives become mini vampires. It converts a chunk of that damage into life, giving you juicy lifesteal on every stab. Especially useful if you enjoy stabbing things and living afterward. Bead Necklace fires automatically based on how far you move. Translation, run around like a caffeinated squirrel and this thing will rain damage for you. Speedy builds eat this up. Bonus points if you've got dash or evasion buffs. Blunderbuss transforms your projectile spam into one big, powerful shot. It's like going from a water gun to a cannon. It trades quantity for quality, and when you're scaling projectile amount, this relic hits hard. Book of Sin autocasts. Judgment when marked enemies die, which is both efficient and terrifying. You get wave clearing with zero effort. Just mark, kill, and watch your faith build go full automation mode. Blue Calcite converts reflexes damage into lightning damage. It opens the door to elemental synergy and lets you take full advantage of lightning-based relics or blessings. Shock your enemies, literally. Bundle of Rope applies lifelink to enemies, meaning damage spreads like a cold in a kindergarten classroom. Perfect for mob control and area damage. Just throw it on a group and enjoy the ripple effects. Burning Shackles consumes Ignite to trigger fiery explosions. If you've already got Ignite sources, this adds some serious boom to your build, especially with Fader's Lash. The name's dramatic and the effect lives up to it. Katinga Hunter gives movement and melee speed boosts for every reflexes knife hit. Spin around, go full blender mode, and enjoy the sweet rush of speed and damage. Best when bouncing knives around the room like you're hosting a circus. Call of the Guard makes Summon the Guard call in double the muscle. For a few glorious seconds, your army becomes an overwhelming mob. Excellent for aggressive summon decks that want to outnumber everything. Crown of Thorns turns Holy Rosary's damage into physical and gives it a bleed chance. Now your Rosary isn't just holy, it's out for blood. Bleed hybrids love this one, especially if you're moving around a lot or critting often. Delicate Rosary regenerates mana when reflexes knives hit. It's subtle but powerful. A must-have for keeping your mana bar happy in reflex builds. It won't win any style awards, but your mana problems are officially over. Energy Box causes passage to leave behind a plague zone and boosts its damage area. Think of it as teleporting with a vengeance. Great for controlling space and creating stylish AoE damage trails behind you. Garrison Supplies fires extra projectiles during Prayer of Vengeance, though each one hits a bit softer. It's quantity over quality, perfect for spamming enemies with a wall of arrows during high-stakes fights. Golden Chaplet makes Holy Rosary orbit steadily and boosts its damage. It's like putting your Rosary on autopilot. Now you don't have to think about positioning, and it hits harder while floating around like a loyal satellite. Looking Glass gives you mana regen when you get kills with spells. It's basically a battery pack for spellcasters. The more things you nuke, the longer you can keep casting. Perfect for aggressive spell builds. Martyr increases Closed Body's conviction based on how much life you're missing. It rewards taking hits and surviving, kind of like turning your suffering into shield energy. Emo, but effective. Molten Relic gives the repeater fire damage and adds grenade explosions. Fireballs and grenades? Yes, please. It's like your repeater just got a promotion to Battlefield Artillery. Northerner Belt lets Lasso autocast on critical hits. The more you crit, the more you yank enemies around. It's the Relic equivalent of saying come here every 2 seconds, and it's especially great in bleed setups. Powder Bag makes marksman attacks on ignited enemies cause fire explosions. It's a chain reaction of boom. Great for projectile builds that like to set things on fire and blow them up afterward. Round Shot changes Matadera into a physical skill with no damage over time, but higher base damage. It's a simple, direct, smash-your-face kind of relic. Who needs poison when you've got raw impact? Skull of the Beast makes Shadow Dash increase your damage for a short time. It's perfect for burst damage builds. Dash in, go crazy, dash out. Just don't forget to use it aggressively to keep the buff rolling. Spearhead makes Split Shot pierce all enemies, reducing damage per target. It's perfect for cleaning up trash mobs or spreading damage across a pack. Just be ready to trade some single target power for beautiful screen-wide coverage. Stolen Weapons lets summon the guard attack using Split Shot. Summons firing off projectiles? Yes, that's as awesome as it sounds. It cranks up summon DPS in a way that feels wonderfully chaotic. Toll of the Dead causes Old Bell to summon Catholic guards when cast. Now it's not just a spell, it's a recruitment ad. Every bell ring means more allies. Faith and Pressure all in one relic. Unshakable Faith boosts Old Bell's damage based on your max mana. If your build hoards mana like a greedy wizard, this relic pays it off. Excellent for Old Bell-focused decks that love throwing big, expensive spells. Worker's Tools casts Holy Rosary from your summons instead of you, which means you can keep moving while your ghostly crew spams Rosary for you. It's like turning your army into mobile spellcasters, lazy, efficient, and deadly. A tier relics are like having a really good sidekick. They won't carry the entire run on their own, but they will make your chosen build smoother, faster, and way more fun. Whether you're stacking projectiles, summoning ghosts, or setting everything on fire, these relics turn good ideas into great plays. Just give them the right setup and watch your run go from solid to spectacular. The relics in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Ashes of Mourning, Battered Sheath, Bundle of Syringes, Colonel's Insignia, Death Notary, Feathered Dagger, Future Weapon, Holy Water, Last Prayer, Mark of the Vulture, Mother of Perpetual Help, Poem Never Recited, Scout's Medal, Silver Bullets, Small Coffee, Tempest, and Written Promise. Ashes of Mourning turns all your damage into Plague and refreshes your cooldowns with every hit. It's like giving your entire build an energy drink and telling it to go crazy. Pair it with Bombardment or anything AoE, and suddenly you're painting the screen in damage and resetting skills like you're stuck in a time loop. Battered Sheath makes knives from reflexes bounce between enemies. It's crowd control magic. Now your blades are basically pinballs of pain. In a packed room, this relic turns reflexes into one of the most satisfying area clear tools in the game. Bundle of Syringes gives you bloodshot stacks from lifesteal, which in turn increases your melee damage. So the more you hit, the more you heal, and the more you heal, the more you hurt. It's a beautiful, bloody feedback loop that works perfectly with double knives or Matadera builds. Colonel's Insignia makes Bombardment follow your character and hit harder over time. No more standing around waiting for it to do its thing. Now you run and gun with it, turning your character into a walking storm cloud of explosions. If you like mobility and destruction, this one's a must. Death Notary empowers slow time by exposing enemies, which means they take more damage, and giving you mana back on kill. It's part utility, part damage amplifier, part battery. Slow time becomes a power zone. Step in, light 'em up, and walk out like a mana-rich legend. Feathered Dagger gives Veil of Quill's piercing power, letting your projectiles hit multiple targets in a line. Perfect for those who love multi-hit shenanigans and screen-wide mayhem. It may reduce damage per pierce, but when you're hitting 10 enemies per shot, who cares? Future Weapon lets Phantom Marksman shots bounce around like they're trying to find new friends to ruin. It turns a basic projectile into a disco of destruction. This relic scales crazy fast in bounce builds and can single-handedly carry a run if you invest in projectile synergy. Holy Water converts potion effects from healing into conviction gain and slows conviction decay. So now, drinking a potion not only keeps you alive, it powers you up. A dream relic for closed body builds or anyone trying to keep that conviction bar juicy. Last Prayer causes repeater kills to explode in a wave of plague damage. It's the relic that turns your repeater into a fireworks launcher. Trash mobs disappear in clouds of infection, and it even helps soften up elites for follow-up attacks. Projectile chaos? Achieved. Mark of the Vulture lets Veil of Quills stack a mark that explodes in a plague burst when it maxes out. If you love building pressure and then detonating the whole room, this is your relic. Perfect for plague-centric builds with aggressive marking. Mother of Perpetual Help upgrades slow time to grant passive conviction and slow its decay. It's part sustain tool, part power-up aura. Just standing in the zone makes you stronger. Use this in mana-heavy or defensive builds and feel your inner paladin awaken. Poem Never Recited adds oil effects to slow time, which makes Ignite happen faster and harder. Fire builds absolutely love this thing. It turns your time-slowing zone into an ignition chamber. Combine with Burning Shackles for beautiful, fiery chaos. Scout's Medal removes the slowdown penalty from double knives. And just like that, your spin-to-win build turns into a high-speed blender. Now you can dash around like a Beyblade and keep slicing without slowing down. Movement freedom and DPS? Yes, please. Silver Bullets gives you Conviction on kill and lets marksman skills spend Conviction for bonus physical damage. It's all about synergy. Build Conviction, unleash it in critical shots, repeat. This relic is a powerhouse in projectile or marksman-heavy decks. Small coffee adds more charges and damage to Matadera. It's like giving your big hammer a caffeine boost. More swings, more boom. Short cooldowns and chunky damage make it a standout pick for AoE lovers. Tempest makes double knife scale with movement speed and converts the damage to lightning. Also, critical hits create electric waves. That's right, the more you move, the more you zap. You basically become a living Tesla coil with blades. Written Promise increases your spell damage based on how much conviction you have. The more faith you've got, the harder your magic hits. It's essential for heavy conviction builds and adds a scary punch to any AoE or burst-focused caster. S-tier relics are the elite performers. The ones that don't just support your build, they define it. These are the relics that make you change your entire strategy just to fit them in. Whether it's refreshing cooldowns with Ashes of Mourning, turning Phantom Marksman into Bounce Death with Future Weapon, or spinning through lightning storms with Tempest, these relics bring the fireworks. What makes them so strong isn't just their raw power. It's their versatility and impact. Many of them, like Colonel's Insignia or Scout's Medal, eliminate drawbacks entirely, while others like Bundle of Syringes and Written Promise scale exponentially with the right setup. If you find one of these relics during a run, chances are you're about to level up your whole strategy. Don't hesitate. Pick it up, smile wide, and prepare for chaos. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.